more people aged under 18 are joining the furry fandom. Demand for safe-for-work-only spaces steadily rose. The fluffies, or the fluffy fandom, came to prominence around June 2020 as the bastion of this idea. But furries thought the fluffy fandom concept was something very bad and tried to stop them. Ever did they knew that their response would cause more trouble than they think they are doing. They think they are helping prevent a second burn first. Or was it the case? The furry fandom today is a melting pot of people from diverse backgrounds, among others, regardless of race, language, religion, and age. That means just like other fandoms, it has its own safe for work and not safe for work sides as well. Put the fandom on a spectrum bar, and one side will be SFW, the fluffies, the other being NSFW or YIF. A furry called Durian Chop coined the term fluffies. A space for fluffies, they say, is a family-friendly space for anyone uncomfortable with adult content, including children. When the idea for a fluffy community came about, there were varied reactions from the fandom. Some furries felt intrigued and had a good impression of it. But critics alleged that this community aims to take down the NSFW community and break away from the fandom. Because this group welcomes children too, critics worry predators will come in and cause trouble. Durian Chop, the fluffy community's proposer, responded to the critics. This is an initial profile picture of the fluffy community's Twitter account. It looks like a black paw icon on a white background. Furries then say they are so-called related to the Furry Raiders, a controversial political social group, only because the former's Twitter icon looks like the latter's controversial armband design. The armbands looks like the Nazi German swastika symbol. In public, anything looking like that of the Nazi Germans is heavily frowned upon and in some places illegal. Durian Chop said they were not aware of these groups at first. The profile picture came from an online search. The furry fandom popularly uses paw prints to represent themselves. They changed their Twitter picture afterwards. The fluffy community is a family-friendly subgroup in the furry fandom. It is not separate from it. And to protect children, Durian Chop said they will be community moderators too, to keep predators out. Now, let's look among the criticisms toward the fluffy community. Notice two common factors: the phrases furry raiders and burn furs. What, burn furs? Are furries burnt alive? Not what you thought. But first, a little bit of history. When the furry fandom began in the 1980s, the first few furry events were very rowdy. Attendees were unbridled when it came to having fun. Some outwardly displaying and acting out adult things explicitly. It was so bad, people who heard about these furry conventions, any furry they knew, were rejected from job interviews, even shunned by friends and family. Back then, in the mouth of the mainstream media and influential figures were things like, oh, furries are all about sex, sexual deviance, everyday they This atmosphere was what the infamous CSI episode Fur and Loathing based on. Unfortunately, that became people's impression of the furry community until today. In response, a movement called the Burn Furs came. They were a short-lived splinter group of furries who revolted against what they saw as the rise of sexual deviance in the community. They want people to stop showing their kinks in public to improve the fandom's already tarnished image. For that, they are aggressive in their narratives and push out anyone they deem harmful to the community's image and their cause. Furries also called the Burnverse a right-wing movement. That was its opponent's counter-narratives, just because it had conservative Christians among them. In one case, when a Burnt Fur member reportedly gave personal attacks and homophobic remarks, they didn't apologize. Another member made excuses for them instead. One of its opponents is Sidex Unicorn, real name Carl Jorgensen. Believing the movement bore right-wing agendas too, he has been very vocal against it. That's why here for the fluffy community, in Sidex's eyes, they resemble the Burnverse. Talking about separating adult content from a community rang bells for him. He thus actively criticized them, repeatedly comparing them to the Burnverse. So, the fluffy community's proposer, Durian Chop, responded. The fluffies are not anti-adult content, they are just a subgroup for people uncomfortable with adult content. We also learned that its opponent's reaction involved memories from incidents a long time ago. Understood. So is that all? No, it is worse. A clone account with the same name but a different Twitter username, @TheFluffyFans, surfaced. Many furries say this account is spreading far-right propaganda and saying things the fluffies' concept and idea never had said. That account is not the one Durian Chop made. In fact, they called it fake. They also say it is responsible for the harassment they received. On that, many reported some furries even sent, get this, pornography to Durian Chop. This is illegal, and they are a minor. These furries did that to protest against the fluffy community. In public knowledge, there were no names, and we don't know if they were punished by the law. Durian Chop eventually locked the fluffy community Twitter account, saying this controversy adversely affected their mental health. The account became inactive. What's all of this? The fandom has had bad encounters with politically vocal right-wing supporters. In the eyes of furries, politically conservative attitudes resemble the Burnverse aggressive ideas. Also today, politicians have put up LGBT-unfriendly laws in the name of protecting children from adult content. For a LGBT majority fandom like the furry fandom, that is why they called the fluffies a right-wing movement. But furries are slammed for not only comparing the fluffy community to right-wing entities, but also for harassing Durian Chop. To counter critics, furries applied political perceptions and historical patterns in the wrong places. Again, the opponents sent porn to a minor. It's illegal. Does stopping a Burnverse copy justify such a response, even as a criticism? On another note, the fluffy community received broad support. Furries are calling themselves fluffies in support. Supporters also praised its emphasis on a safe and clean space in the midst of a saturated online environment. On that, chances are a regular furry would often accidentally see porn online. Many original posters don't censor it before posting them in public. But this positive reception, no matter how much, still could not save the crumbling fluffy community. Furries are free to express their creativity in family-friendly or adult formats. But as young people join the furry community annually, creating age-appropriate spaces becomes important. That does not mean that the adult space must be gone. It is all a personal preference. There are those interested in adult or family-friendly things only. Indulge in them as much as you like. Go ahead, so long as you don't hurt anyone.